Hello, I'm Ollie and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, creepy short stories and a first for the channel. It's my weekly wrap-up. So this will be the normal kind of format for my Saturday videos. So I'll talk about what I've been reading, talk about what I'm reading at the moment, and talk a bit about channel stuff. So stuff that's been on the channel, stuff that's coming up. I've also got a mini book haul for you at the end of the video. So one of my subscribers very kindly sent me a lovely box of vintage books. So I will go through those with you at the end of the video. I filmed that unboxing the other day. And I've also, as I said in the intro, I've got something completely new for the channel. But first, I just want to do a mini announcement. So people are probably aware a while ago I set up a Patreon. If you don't know what a Patreon is, it's a way for viewers to connect with creators in different ways. So effectively you pay a monthly subscription fee, which helps support me and the channel, and for that you get different perks, and there's different tiers. The top tier of my Patreon, which is called OllyFans, which is a name that still makes me laugh, only has 12 spots because of some of the perks you get if you're an Ollie fan are things that I couldn't commit to doing for more than 12 people. So for example, getting to do a buddy read with me during the year, where you pick the book, getting a festive gift from me at the end of the year and things like that. So one of those 12 spots has just opened up. So just wanted to let people here know, because I know there are a few people who wanted to become an Ollie fan and didn't manage to when I first launched the Patreon. So hopefully when this video goes out, there'll still be one spot left, and you can, or one new spot if you like, and you can grab it should you want to. Anyway, let's move on to the thing that is a first for the channel. So and I don't know how people are going to feel about this, so do let me know in the comments. So something that tends to happen with channels as they get bigger is that you get approached by companies wanting to sponsor you or for you to feature their products on the channels, on your channel and things like that. So obviously for a long time I've featured books. So I get sent books all the time by publishers and independent authors, and I show those on the channel, and eventually it takes me a while sometimes, but eventually I read them and do reviews and things like that as well. More recently, as the channel's got bigger, I've had loads of emails from all sorts of different people wanting to get involved in the channel in some way or another, including one from like a psychic hotline who wanted to sponsor the channel. So I was like, no, that's really not appropriate for the channel at all. So the vast majority of those things I turn away. But I got an email a little while ago from a French company wanting to send me one of their products, and it felt like a really good fit for the channel. So let me show it to you now. So the company is called, they've got a very posh name, they're called Maison Norive, and they're based in Saint-Tropez in France, which just seems incredibly posh, doesn't it? So they're a company that makes leather goods, and they'd seen my Kindle Scribe videos, and they offered to send me one of their Kindle Scribe covers, which I've got here. So you can see there, lovely orange colour, so all made of leather. So these products they're handmade, and you can tell they're handmade as well. So this has some like minor imperfections on it, which I think gives it a lot of charm. So it doesn't look like a mass-produced factory type thing like you'd get from Amazon. It does feel like a handmade product. But yeah, very nicely designed. You can see the scribe fits very nicely in there. So yeah, they have a website that you can go to, and that's what they said to me. I got to go to their website and pick all from there's like many different customizations options, so loads of different customization options, over 100 different colors. They use premium materials for all of their things, but there's a range of different materials. So they have like vegan options as well as leather and things like that, and different textures you can have on the leather and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm very impressed with it. I really like it. It's a nice alternative to my my Amazon bought Kindle Scribe cover. And what I would say as well is they don't just make covers for Kindle Scribes. They make all sorts of different things, all sorts of leather goods. So wallets and things like that, as you'd expect, but like phone cases and things. So I'll leave a link to their website in the description for the video. But yeah, Maison Norive, I'm definitely impressed, and it definitely feels like it's made my Kindle Scribe that little bit posher. So yes, I'm a big fan, I have to say. Okay, so on to the book. So a couple of physical books to talk about that I've read this week, and also some non-physical books. So when I made this video last week, I was reading or listening to the Audible book of How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. So that was a buddy read I was doing with one of my patrons, Mariah. It was fantastic. We had such a good time reading this book together and chatting about it. I really, really enjoyed it. So I've done a full video for that, but it's How to Sell a Haunted House is like a comedy horror novel, but genuinely creepy at times, as well as being very funny and quite moving. It was just a great time. So yeah, check out my review if you haven't already. So that was the first thing I finished. I also read Spectre by Stephen Laws, so a vintage, well, I don't know, is the 1980s vintage? I think it's considered vintage, but it doesn't feel vintage to me. Anyway, Spectre by Stephen Laws, which I read for Kelly Hooked on Books' From Hell book club. So this was actually my pick, so people who are part of that club get to pick a book, and this was my pick. It was really good. So I've read a couple of Stephen Laws things. Actually, no, I've read a few Stephen Laws things over the years, but I hadn't read this one. But yeah, it was very entertaining. So it's about this gang of friends who grew up together in Newcastle, who call themselves the Biker chapter. So Biker is like a district of Newcastle. And I have to say, anyone from the UK who's a similar age to me, when you hear the word biker, you immediately hear in your head the theme tune to the TV show Biker Grove. So I did have an earworm for that all the way through reading this book. But yeah, so basically this group of friends who, there's a photograph of them from when they were, you know, when they used to hang out at school, and gradually people start dying. Members of their group start dying and disappearing from that photograph, and it's all about that. So it kind of uses that technique that was used in the first Back to the Future film, but uses it for kind of a horror effect. So yeah, I really enjoyed it very much. I then read a book I've been waiting for ages, Aliens Vasquez by V. Castro, which is a lot of fun. It wasn't perfect. It does. I felt like the middle section was maybe a bit too long, and the end maybe lacked a bit of punch, but it's still really entertaining. Vasquez is my favourite character from Aliens, and Aliens is one of my favourite films. So reading a book about her, and it's about the first part of the book is about kind of her and how she got into the Colonial Marines, and then the rest of the book is about her two children, and you know what happens in their lives, how they get involved with Weyland-Yutani, and you know all sorts of different stuff. So yeah, it was definitely a fun and entertaining read, and I do think V. Castro is a very talented writer. So that's what I have read. I'm currently reading a couple of things. So I'm reading Haunted by Jack Palahniuk for my Disturbing Books project, and it's also, I think, one of the books on my 50 books to read before I'm 50 project. So I don't know, I've only read Fight Club by Palahniuk before, and I'm about 50% through Haunted, and I like some of it and I don't like other parts of it. So it's basically a short story collection, but with this linking story, which is about this group of writers who suffer a disaster and end up trapped in this building with no food. And I'm not really enjoying that part of it because I'm just not connecting with any of the characters at all. Some of the individual short stories have been really good. They haven't all been great, but some of them have been excellent. But I am struggling a bit with, you know, the overarching story that links everything together, and it just feels like it's trying a bit too hard at times, perhaps. But yeah, I will continue to read that and finish it, and I'll probably do a review of that next week on Wednesday. I'm also just started this morning The King in Yellow by Robert W. Chambers, which is one of those books I've been meaning to read for ages. So again, a collection of short stories written at the end, I think, of the 19th century, and has a reputation for being really creepy. So it's tied. The reason the collection is called The King in Yellow is because the stories in it are tied together with this motif of this play called The King in Yellow, which is supposed to send people insane. And I love that trope. I absolutely love that trope. I don't know if this is one of the first examples of it, but it's a trope I adore. So the first story I listened to on Audible. It's out of copyright now, obviously, because it was written so long ago. And there's a pretty decent podcast on Audible that has an audio book of it, basically. So I listened to that while walking to the library this morning to pick up a book. And I really enjoyed it. There's so much going on in it. I got about 2/3 of the way through the first story. And I think I may well end up doing a review of this because it's fascinating. There's just so much going on in it. and it's all deeply weird. So yeah, it did creep me out a bit, even though I was kind of walking through sunlit streets. Yeah, it's a very strange book indeed. So that's what I'm reading at the moment. In terms of what I'm going to be reading next, so we're nearly at the end of February. So I have one more thing on my TBR for February, which is 1974 by David Peace, the first book in his Red Riding Quartet, which I'm looking forward to reading. I've also got somewhere, I don't know where it is, it's somewhere in this room. Oh, here we go. I've got What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher, which wasn't on my TBR for the month originally, and indeed Vasquez wasn't either. So a couple of things have got moved off my February TBR, and I'll probably talk about that when I do my February wrap-up video. But I'm getting involved in a new project, like a new collab, and I'm reading What Moves the Dead for that. So you will see the fruits of that eventually. I won't say any more than that for now, but this is a book that looks fun. There's been a lot of buzz about this, so yeah, looking forward to giving that a try. And it's dead short. I didn't realise how short it was. It's like 160 pages, and it's quite wide spacing on the on the lines as well. So I may try and read that this weekend as well, or before the end of February anyway. So in terms of channel stuff then, so you've had a couple of reviews this week as normal. So I did a review of Child of God by Cormac McCarthy, which was pretty good, but I wasn't crazy about. And How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix, as I've already said, which I absolutely loved. I also did a review of an issue of Midnight Tales magazine, which is a lot of fun. So it's like an independent horror short story magazine. So I enjoyed that a lot. And I did I did a video about James Patterson, the author, and why he's not my favourite person, which people seem to be enjoying. I think most people seem to agree with my opinion, maybe not quite everybody, but most people do. And I've also been experimenting with shorts again this week. So I did some shorts a while ago. I've done some kind of watch shorts and things like that over the last few months. So I've started doing some kind of book related shorts again. So you may see those in your feed too, so let me know what you think of those. And I've also started putting stuff on TikTok again, which I'm still not sure about. I'm still not sure if I quite get TikTok, but I'm having a go and trying to be a cool young person. So we'll see how that goes. So in terms of the week ahead then, so as I've said, you'll probably get a review of Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk. You may get a review of the Aliens book, or a review of The King in Yellow, if I get that finished. I've got a tag video lined up to do, which is about kind of romance in books. And you will see my March TBR video, which is going to go up on Monday. And I've also got a video which I've already recorded for tomorrow, which is about 2018, which is a year during which I only read books by women. So I've done a video about that and my experiences and what that year felt like as a reader. Right, so that's the normal stuff out of the way. I'm going to pause now and hand you over to Ollie from the past, who's going to unbox a lovely box of vintage paperback books for your viewing pleasure. Okay, so yesterday this box arrived and it is weighty. So it feels like it's absolutely chock full of stuff. I don't know if you can hear the weight of it there. And the label, the customs declaration on it, simply says, in terms of the detailed description of contents, old paperback books, which is a phrase that fills my heart with joy. So this has been very kindly sent to me by a subscriber, Eerie B, to my PO box. So thank you very much, Eerie, for this. You've given me a hard time in the comments before about my lack of ability at opening up boxes. So I have got a penknife for this one. So let me get into it and see what delights await inside. It is very, very securely taped up. Very, very intrigued to see what is in here. You can probably see my excitement on the screen. Right. Oh wow, okay, this looks amazing. Right, so let's get rid of the box, let's see what we got. So nicely packaged in plastic bags to keep them safe. These do look really quite wonderful. So, okay, we've got King Kung Fu 1, Son of the Flying Tiger by Marshall McCow, which I strongly suspect is not the author's real name. Okay, this looks amazing. This looks absolutely amazing. Here's the dynamite Kung Fu action stories you've been waiting for, and I have been waiting for them, it's true. Okay, we've got the second book in the same series, Return of the Opium Wars, which also looks fantastic. Faster and fiercer than ever, apparently. The Son of the Flying Tiger is back. Okay, we've got a few saucy things as well. So we've got The Scandal Goddess by William Hegner. Unrivaled mistress of malice, she ruled the entertainment world. And look at that, it's got lovely red edges to the pages as well. Another one by William Hegner, The Adopters, which again, it's got a very soft focus cover. It says, a sensuous novel of illicit innocence, their shameless passions, their forbidden dreams. Again, it's got a red edging to the pages, red for source, I guess. And then we've also got The Bigamist, again by William Hegner, a novel about the forbidden pleasures of a secret double life. He looks a bit sort of stressed out, doesn't he? Having too many wives is a bit stressful. I can relate. Okay, what's in the next bag? Okay, so this looks a bit more sort of, well, a real mix actually. Okay, so this looks good. Celebrity Sweet Nurse. I've read that wrong, haven't I? Celebrity Sweet Nurse by Suzanne Roberts. Two men wanted her love, but was she free to love either? This looks good. This looks very good. It's a lovely sort of small size paperback as well. Doomsday Warrior. So I read some of these Doomsday Warriors books ages ago, back in the kind of 80s. You could get them over here as well. So this is Doomsday Warrior number 11, American Eden, by Ryder Stacy. After nuclear war, America's only chance for freedom is the Doomsday Warrior. Fantastic. We've got a bit of crime. So The French Killing by James P. Cody, from the corridors of Washington to the Parisian chambers of international finance. I suspect that this is in some way a French Connection ripoff. So it sounds like it's part of a series. So let me read you the first part of the blurb. Operating out of a small office in downtown Washington is Brian Peterson, the DC man, who has appointed himself freewheeling watchdog of justice. But sooner or later, a watchdog must attack. And when the DC man goes into action, no one gets off free. That looks fantastic. Semi-Tough. So I've heard of this. This is a movie, isn't it? I think with Burt Reynolds. Apparently, according to one of the blurbs on the back, it's the bluest novel since Portnoy's Complaint. I have actually read Portnoy's Complaint, and it was reasonably saucy. So yeah, this is Semi-Tough by Dan Jenkins. Playboy describes it as the funniest, raunchiest book ever written about football and football players. So DDB, I don't know if you're watching, but this sounds like one you'd approve of. And then finally, and perhaps most fantastically of all, another book with lovely coloured edging to the pages, so sort of a teal green to the pages there. This is John Adam, Samurai, by Christopher Wood. Apparently he's deadlier than Kung Fu and lustier than Flashman. I'm going to read the blurb on this one because it sounds fantastic. John Adam landed in unexplored Japan with just his bare hands and naked nerve to help him survive in a land of fierce samurai and frolicsome geishas. But with the aid of native experts, he soon was master of both the devastating fighting skills and exotic arts of love that flourished in the mysterious East. From that point on, whether in hand-to-hand battle or combat in the erogenous zone, John Adam, the greatest sensuous adventure of them all, had all the equipment needed to come out on top. So this sounds like it's a Shogun rip-off with added sauce and extra period racism. I don't know, actually. It came out in 1971. I'm not sure when Shogun came out. I suspect Shogun came out after 1971. So maybe Shogun is a John Adams Samurai ripoff. Maybe I got it the wrong way around. So, Eerie, thank you so much. This is a wonderful collection of dodgy paperbacks. And I mean that dodgy paperbacks in the most affectionate possible sense of the word. I am really looking forward to all of these. They will definitely get read, if not by Garb August, then during Garb August. So thank you very much indeed. So I hope you enjoyed that. I thought that was a really lovely gift from Erie. Some wonderful vintage trash there, which I'm going to enjoy reading very much indeed, I'm sure. So one thing I forgot to do in the main part of the video was update you on the two kind of goals, the two numbers I'm tracking at the moment. So one is the 50 books I'm trying to read before I'm 50. So I've read 13 now, so still got 37 to go and 2 months to do it in. I should, by the end of February, have read 16, which takes it down to 34. So it's 17 a month for March and April, which is, I can do it, but one of the books is War and Peace, so we'll see. And then my 100 book challenge, I'm reading 100 books I already own before buying any new ones. I'm up to 71 books now, so I'm getting there with that. And I'm still finding it easy. I'm not struggling. I'm not finding it a massive imposition not being able to buy new books. Right, time for a random book from the shelves then. So today's book was chosen by one of my patrons, Leanna, and that book is 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami, which is absolutely huge. It's like 1,300 pages long. I think it was originally published in the UK, at least, in 2 volumes. This is a very strange but quite fantastic book. Very difficult to describe. Very, very weird. Quite troubling at times. So there's some quite troubling content in it. It's kind of science fiction, but kind of not really. I guess it's kind of magical realism. I don't really know how to describe it, as you can probably tell. But I loved it. I couldn't put it down. I found it absolutely gripping and absorbing and fascinating. So yeah, I do recommend it. But clearly, you need a bit of time to read it because it's a big old book. So I hope you found that interesting. Let me know in the comments what you've been reading this week. Let me know if you've read any of the books I talked about. Let me know if you've got any thoughts about anything else in the video. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.